Secondly, it is not a coincidence that she's the wife. I am a mother's godson. So we kept everything in the family.
I believe in letting the head of the household do all the work. So I decided I would not say too much this evening because we've been hearing a lot of words today, meaningful words, and words that would lead us to continue the work of these wonderful people here in Houston and in other parts of the United States who are Panamanians and yet United States citizens. I was kind of amused at watching what was going on when you sang both anthems. And I tried to look at faces to see the expressions of each one, especially those who have bilingual qualifications. It's kind of difficult, but keep up the good work. Keep up the good work, and my congratulations on your behalf. I would just say a little bit about my background as a West Indian of a Panamanian of West Indian origin. I am told by my father that his mother brought him to Panama when he was 20 years old from Guyana. I heard somebody say something about Guyana a while ago. We don't hear too much about the Guyanans. We hear a lot about the Barbadians and the Jamaicans, but some of the Guyanas también were there working on that project. And he had already had his, whatever would be the junior Cambridge or whatever, there was a high degree of education at that time offered to the students. And his mother brought him to get this job in this wonderful place that they heard the jobs were being offered. The following day after their arrival, he put on his suit and went down to get a job because he was educated. And what he saw was the signs: colored, gold, silver, and you know the rest of the story. So my father just said, this is not for me. And he went into Panama City, and in a week's time, he opened a tailor shop. That is where I was raised, I must say, from the profits of that tailor shop business. So I really shouldn't be in the high, the canal diggers, because my father did not dig. But there are a few people, and many people, who are in that same condition. They never dug the canal, but they worked for it and helped the people who worked and needed support, because it wasn't easy to come in day after that treatment you were getting over there and also on the silver room. So that's my contribution. Pass it over to those who know better and more than I do.
We are here today to celebrate 100 years of the existence of the Panama Canal. All the time we have been hearing about the building of the canal, who lost their lives, who did this and who did that. But no one has thought of saying, what about them now? Where are they now? Is there anyone in here that can tell me where one is? One big other canal. Tell me where one big other canal. But let me tell you, in the year 1964, I had just come back from Johns Hopkins, and the canal needed a physician that knows how to work this thing and call it that way.
Yes, sir.
So, one day I got a phone call telling me they would like to speak to the personal direction. I went, and they told me that we have a job here, and the old men are scattered all over the place. We want to bring them together, and we want to give them a retirement small sum.
Yes.
That was a very distasteful statement, a small sum. Because when the men started to work, they were getting 10 cents an hour.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And they spent million years working for 10 cents an hour. At the age of 62, and that included my father, they were told, well, sir, you are no longer fit to work, so we're going to retire you. I said, okay. So they sent out a man to look at the conditions of the men at the time. And he came up with a prosperity index. And that prosperity index would determine how much they would get in this retirement. Now, this prosperity index is not a prosperity index, it's a poverty index. Because all we found was a Kenmore refrigerator and a kerosene stove, and he considered that prosperity. So when he found good things in a home, he would assign $10 per month. Some got $20 per month, others got $15 per month. And that was what we call retirement. So much so that when as my grandmother would say, to save shame, they decided to pass an act of 1937 that would give the man $1.50 per month per year, with a maximum of $45 per month. That means if after 30 years or more of service, you'll be getting $1.50 for each year of service you done. This was okay for a while. And then they felt that that time when $45 was really nothing, and they decided to redo the Act of 37 and make it the civil service that we enjoy now. That's what we got here. So they omitted the Civil Service Act and made everybody that was retired at that time federal employees retired. That's how we started with that. But that wasn't the best thing that could be done. I used to, in order to get to them, we had to wait until payday when they conglomerated at the office to get that little. And so when they were gathering there, I decided that I'm going to find out the names of those widows who are not getting anything. So I made a file of it and hid it in my drawer. And then I considered with Dr. Young, in order to find out the health condition of the man. You remember they had an X-ray machine that used to go around? But they got everybody to take an X-ray, and by that I could find those who had TB, those who had heart disease, other lung disease. And by that way, to gather them together. I know you have heard of SAMAC. SAMAC is a building where the museum remains. That was one of my first peripheral clinics in the Japan. In order to get the men to come together and use them. And then that followed with the Baptist Church in California, and the Christian Church in Florida, and the Adventist in Chile, and by that way we got the men together. But the widows were still out in the cold. We got an invitation to the American Embassy, at which one of the Congress members was here. While we were there, he took me apart and said to me, hey, I understand you are the one that's taking care of these men. I said, yes. So what do you think is the best thing we can do for them now? I said, for the men, that is a lot of stuff. But right now, the women. And that's the way the women got. The Act of 1937 provided 50% of what the man used to get for the women, of the $45. As time passed, the organizations, fought for better retirement, and that extended into the retirement of the retiree of the before I go into the widows, we call them disability annuitant, but you call them builders. I call them diggers. And so we have a lot of synonyms for the same thing. We save money. So up came this personal director and asked me to make a list of all the widows that I know existed. I had already made my list. So when he said that, he asked me, when can I get that list? I said, you'll get it this afternoon. I said, you'll get it this afternoon. So afternoon, I took a big drawer. He said, where did you get that? What's that? I said, those are the widows that we were talking about. And from then on, they started to give them medication and things like that. But the worst thing that I can think of was when the Panama Canal Treaty was put into place in 1955. That all the workers who used to have privilege to go to Dollars were in the street. They couldn't go back there. The lost the commissary, the lost everything. So one day, there was a man that got into the bank and got this place. And he had a very high fee, very high fee. License had just this thing. They called the ambulance and sent him to Goggles. When they sent him to Goggles, the resident tested the guy, told he had a fever, but he didn't find anything else. Sent him back. So I went down to where he was and I said, this man is going to hospital, so he go back. I went back to the ambulance and we saw him up there. When I got up there, the director of the hospital called me and said, why did you send this man back here? Well, we're sending this man back there and back to work, examine him with him. With him present. So there was a man lying on the bed, very high fever, and feet covering him. So I said to the resident, did you check this man? He said, yes. No, he has a fever. So I walked up to the sheet, and I said, that the man had big gangrene. The leg had gangrene on the leg, the man was diabetic, and he was having gangrenous leg.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway,
Wow.
when that happened, the director of the hospital called me and said, you seem to be very interested in this. And I said, my father was one. So he said, I'm going to do something. I'm going to allow 18 cases per month in August and 12 cases per month in Cocosol to hospitalize men and but they have to get a letter of no objection. Have you ever heard of that?